Hi, welcome to Skinny Jabbers, the podcast where we speak about the weight loss injections, and I usually do very poor accents and alienate all of our viewers. Um, Today's episode is going to be about, let me just read it off the screen because I've got the little thing that you probably saw when you clicked on the link. Should you use a skinny jab? The answer isn't always yes. So what we want to do today is have a little chat over, look, we're recording this just before the sort of turn of the year, and so we're going to be going into January, and I imagine much in the way that people all go to the gym in January, a lot of people are going to buy this thing and start jabbing it in themselves going, I need to lose some weight. And that's, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet, because we haven't really had this happen because they were released in February of last year. No, February of this year. And so we haven't had this weird end of year New Year's resolution moment before. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And there will be some people that this drug is right for, and there will be others that it's wrong for. And so what we want to sort of quickly run through is if effectively if it's right for you. You know, let's not beat around the bush. We're speaking directly to you at home, listening to this, watching this, and going, maybe you don't want to waste £100 a month on this. Maybe you do. Maybe this will change your life. Maybe it'll be a waste of your time. And so I'll let Jen sort of start us off.
Okay, so when we started the injections, Stuart started a couple of weeks before me, which I think we kind of mentioned in the last episode. It was kind of like, will it help? Won't it help? What's the risks? Because there are risks with any medication you take. And then what do we get out of it at the end? And I guess when we first spoke about it, when you first told me about the research that you'd done on it, it sounded great. It sounded like it was working for many people. When you finally took yours, and then kind of tried to explain the feelings and the not wanting to eat as much or things like that, or not feeling hungry, it kind of, okay, that seems to be good. And then when I did it, and I felt the same, I'm assuming the same because I've had kind of the same outcomes and stuff like that. It was only then, and obviously over the last couple of months, that it's not just about weight loss. It's about the relationship with food, and
this is the thing we've been saying for a lot recently to people, is that there's a difference between a diet and this. So we kind of had this conversation earlier where we were saying about, you go onto a diet, I don't know, pick a diet, I can't really think of it, like the Atkins diet. Let's use that as an example. So you go onto the Atkins diet, you effectively just eat proteins. So we're veggie, so that'd be really difficult. But we could just eat nuts.
I don't like nuts.
Oh God, there's always a reason.
That would be really hard.
Always an argument with you, isn't it? So you're eating what? Just like steak and eggs and you know, whatever else it happens to be.
Lots of proteins.
And the reality is, it's a way to try and lose weight, but it's not a way that you can live your life.
It's not sustainable.
No.
Like as a long term healthy kind of diet.
Even if we argue that it can be healthy, what we're doing is saying that it's just not sustainable in the long term as a long-term diet to live your life.
Yeah.
And fair enough. So what you end up doing is you end up, what's the term, like yo-yo dieting.
Yeah.
So I lose some weight, I am happy, I then go back to eating some bread and an apple or whatever thing that is completely
and you pile it all
unacceptable. Yeah, because obviously apple usage is a problem in the Atkins diet. So anyway, you end up losing weight, you end up putting the weight back on again. This is different in the sense that what you're trying to do is change your relationship to food and change the way that
Mm.
you're eating. And so you're not trying to eat weirdly, you're not trying to eat anything different.
No,
So we
we haven't.
basically the same
Yeah,
things.
there's been a couple of things which haven't agreed with us since we've been on it. And that we believe is due to the slow digestion
Yeah.
part. And your body basically goes, I don't want this in
Not
you
having that
anymore.
anymore. Yeah.
Which again we will discuss further down the line of kind of those type of things. But in general, there is nothing that we have changed.
Our meals are the same.
Yeah,
They're
our
smaller.
meals are the same. They are just smaller. And in my case, I find that because of the job that I do, I'm always on the go. I'm driving a lot. I'm in and out different times. So I don't tend to have many set meals. So I will now try and have breakfast before I leave for work. But my lunch, I don't tend to have a lunchtime. I just have something when I can, and then I obviously have our evening meal. Before we started this, I would run into a garage to get some fuel, and while I was in the queue for fuel, I'd pick up
Croissant.
croissants. Great
French accent.
French
Straight
accent.
in there.
There we go. So a croissant, or a hot chocolate, a chocolate bar, crisps, you name it, in a service station, all crap. I would buy that for my lunch. And then I would have dinner when we come home.
But I haven't had breakfast.
Haven't had breakfast, but I've
But that
eaten
would
more
always-
than enough.
That would always be the argument, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had breakfast, so if I eat 2 croissants and a hot chocolate, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
Yeah.
And you go, wow.
Well, it does.
Kind of does.
And then, yeah, so that would be kind of my food intake pretty much daily, because I would be out working and stuff like that.
So what is it now?
So now so I will have breakfast before I leave, whereas I didn't before. So I would have either porridge or
Okay, so
Weetabix.
has the drug made you do that, or have you made yourself do it whilst on the drug? Because they're different things.
I would say I feel that I need to eat in the morning because of, I guess, how much I've eaten the previous days and at what time. So we do tend to eat earlier now in the evenings. We don't snack into the evening, so we used to have a meal and then pudding after that, and then kind of 9-10 o'clock we'd be snacking on something else. Yeah. So in the morning I feel that I do need to eat, and again that's with the drug. It's not to stop you eating. You still should eat. And I feel that actually I should eat at that time. But then maybe I also kind of go, if I'm trying to be good and I don't want to do that snacking during the day, then put something in me in the morning, kind of porridge wise and stuff like that, then it might just be that actually I'm making better choices. For lunch, sometimes I take grapes. So if we've got grapes in the house, I'll take grapes, and it's like especially when I'm in the van, I can just kind of snack on the grapes. But if I do stop at a garage or a shop or something like that, I tend to pick up grapes now. So I don't pick up the sweets.
But this is something you've actually, and again, we'll probably run into the food episode.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you've mentioned a few times to me is that, like, if you pop out to the shops, like when I'm at work or something like that, you wander around the shop, and we will tend to sort of like go to like at the back of a shop or something like that, and we'll walk along it, and then we'll pop down the aisles we need to go to. And then we sort of curl back on ourselves down the sort of middle aisle of the shop, and then maybe pop into like the pet food aisle or something like that, but very few of the front aisles. And you've made the point a few times that you now just don't go down like the biscuit sweet aisle.
No, I just don't. I don't feel the need to. And even when I do, I can walk down it and go,
Yeah.
And it's not a thing. The cravings for the sugar is gone. it's
And that comes back to that GLP-1 thing.
yeah,
So because you're now regulating your insulin, your body isn't screaming out to go, oh, I could do with some sugar.
yeah,
And so because that's disappeared, the request from your gut to your brain asking you for some sugar starts to diminish.
yeah.
And there's, I mean, I don't want to go into, I mean, I don't want to go straight to talk about poo already, but there's some really interesting research about, again, the microbiome and how you can change. So what they did was they gave some people some really, really high powered antibiotics, killed off their microbiome effectively, and then waited to see what would grow back. And so what happened was, depending on the foods that the people ate, depended on the bacteria that grew in the stomach, that whole thing that like Yakult is supposed to
Yeah.
cure. The things that grew back in there depended on what they were eating. So if you were eating, I don't know, a Kit Kat based diet, then all of a sudden all the microbes and the sort of bacteria in the gut that thrives on Kit Kat, that's the thing. But all your Kit Kat bacteria, they thrived. And so guess what they were calling for? More Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Whereas your apple-based bacteria just died off.
Yeah.
And so this was an interesting discovery. And then what they then tried to do, which is where we're going to talk about poo, is they then took the poo from healthy people. And at the time they actually picked, I think they were rugby players. And so they took some poo with some bacteria in it and they liquidized it. And then they pumped it up the bums of the people who they'd killed the microbiome of.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, those people just felt a natural urge to eat healthier foods. And they had no idea why. And it was basically because the bacteria that was in the microbiome was screaming for the healthy foods because they were the bacteria that were there.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize the control that had over our brain. And what happens with the GLP-1 is that it changes that request.
Yeah. And I would say I totally agree with that. That's what I've experienced, I think. I think the first 2 months.
To be clear, the GLP-1 you've experienced, not the bum squirty.
No, yes, no, not the bum squirty.
I just want to double check because I mean there may have been a day when I was at work where you were doing weird stuff that I don't.
But yeah, I think for the first like 2 months, I don't think I had chocolate.
And God, did you go on about it?
But it wasn't a.
There's still that orange arrow.
Yeah.
In the...
So we started. So we started the injection a month before my birthday. And for my birthday, I got lots of chocolate. Through my clients, family, friends, that sort of thing. And I've still got one chocolate bar in there that is still there, and we're December.
Yeah.
That would have never. It just would have never been in there. I would have eaten it like the day I got it.
Yeah, and to be clear, and I don't mean this is disrespectful to the person who bought it, but it's a relatively small bar of dairy milk.
Yep.
With like 40 years old
for my
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it's not like one of those ginormous ones that's like this big and you've got a bit left. It was a sort of that sort of size bar. So like a 200 gram, 100 gram, whatever size it is.
Yeah, I think it's 150, 200 grams, something like that.
So that's the size bar.
Yeah.
And you've just never felt the urge or the need to open it.
No.
And that is not you, is it?
No. I would have that chocolate bar and I would eat that chocolate bar.
In one go?
In one go. No issues whatsoever.
Because although I weighed a hell of a lot more than you, you would sometimes get angry at me when I would put chocolate back in the kitchen. And you're like, what's wrong with you? Do you not want it?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I'll just have some later.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when I realised that it'd gone like 2 months without me thinking about chocolate, looking for chocolate, eating chocolate, that like all of that, chocolate was my thing. Like I would always eat chocolate. And jellies, I like.
And jellies.
I
love a jelly.
But yeah, chocolate was, if it was there, it was eaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think because I went for those, and it might have been 2 months, it might have been I just kind of trying to tally it up a little bit and kind of, I kind of say 2 months. I then was like, wow, this has changed how I think or how I feel about chocolate, sweet stuff, all that. You know, we would walk past the bakery and see the cakes and the donuts and stuff, and I wouldn't, you know,
dive in and grab a fruit
yeah,
roll.
exactly. Yeah, I would always be straight in there, wouldn't I? You know, I'd gravitate to that bit,
like a
you know?
magnet.
Yeah. But I don't now. Or if I do happen to walk down the aisle, I can walk right the way through it and not care. So it has definitely, for me, it has definitely changed what I seek for food and how I see food.
And so the other thing with the fullness issue is the example I always use is sort of like you have like a Chinese, and we'd get Chinese, get takeaway, and we'd order, I don't know, 40 quid's worth, something in that sort of region. And so you'd have loads of different dishes, and we'd eat it in a pasta bowl because you can put more in it, and you can, and it makes very little mess. So you'd chuck your sort of your dinner into the pasta bowl, and then you'd eat dinner, and then I'd sit here.
And it would be piled.
I'd be piled up.
Yeah.
And then I'd sit here going, oh,
what would it be?
Never eat again.
It'd be rice, chow mein, sweet and sour chicken,
the crispy shredded beef.
It would
just take into account that we're actually vegetarian, but there's a Chinese down the road that does veggie versions of all these things, and it's amazing.
But even before we were veggie, we would have prawn crackers.
You would,
because
you're not that veggie.
Spring rolls, everything, like just so much food. I don't like, even looking back now, I just
It was too much.
It was just too much. It was crazy, and it's just amazing, like how.
But this is the thing
about the food.
So what has changed, and what's really important, is that now this has changed.
Yeah.
Like, so at the beginning, we were both trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
That's what we were both setting out to do.
Yeah.
And that has happened. So we're you know, you're close to sort of half of your target. I'm at about 40% of mine. And so we're both making really amazing progress.
Yeah.
And we're now both in a mindset of going, this isn't a case of if I can lose the weight, it's when I lose the weight. Like, we're now just sort of looking at when the target's going to get to, and then how we either maintain it or we process it at a later date. Yeah. So that's the thought process. But the way that we deal with food has completely changed in these 7 months. And that's a huge difference. And so I think if you're willing to take a run at this from that mindset, if you're going, I don't know, I'm going to get married in August and I want to lose a couple of pounds to get into my dress, this is not the drug for you.
No.
This is not the drug for you. If you're the sort of person who, you know what, doesn't eat that much and just makes crap choices in their life with their food, you can change that other ways. This drug probably isn't the drug for you. And take into account that best will in the world, it still costs good money.
Yeah. The thing is, you say about like someone that doesn't eat a lot but makes crap choices. Well, was that me? Because I didn't eat breakfast. I grabbed something on the go for lunch, but it was crap.
Mm-hmm.
We would then have dinner, which was crap.
True, but
and then we would
at the same time, you've just sort of said that I will eat my own body weight in a Chinese, and then I would smash a bar of chocolate afterwards, right? So so the choices were bad. Sure, we all accept that, but at the same time, and we've discussed this, and we kind of mentioned it in the last episode, that you I was going to say you did, because you're taking this drug, have issues around portion control and other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the whole sort of like the eyes are bigger than the belly kind of thing. Well, we tried to change that by just making our bellies much bigger.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a few pounds overweight, if you're not obese, if the things that we're talking about, so the thing that we spoke about in the last episode was the whole thing around crashing, and so you have
The sugar highs and
sugar highs and sugar losses.
crashes,
So,
yeah.
and I was trying to explain this to sort of my brother-in-law the other day, of going, just cough your guts up. When you have that moment where you know you have to eat, like you have to eat because you're going to pass out, or vice versa, you've just eaten and then you have that thing where, like, you know, that whole sort of Christmas dinner, like,
Yeah.
I'm gone. If that's something you're experiencing on a day-to-day level, this drug will help you with that.
Yeah.
And this drug will put you in a much better position. If you're not experiencing any of that, and you can, if you really want to, make better food choices, and you aren't hugely overweight, you're just looking to get into a dress or for an occasion, or, you know, oh, summer's coming up and I want a beach body. Yeah, if you're there, this is not designed for you.
No.
You're the person who's going to be on TV in a couple of months' time explaining to everyone that this drug should be banned, because it's dangerous, because you happen to have got some from your very, very trusted salon who have been doing your nails for years, and therefore they're legit, and they've given you some powder and you've mixed it yourself and it's dangerous and no one should be using it. You're a problem. You're not a solution. And so there are people out there who should not be taking this drug. And there are things around, if you have pancreatic issues, you should not be taking this drug.
Yeah.
If you have issues with
Gallbladder.
gallstones,
Yeah.
you should not be taking this drug.
Yeah.
If you're actually genuinely like type 1, type 2 diabetic, go through your doctor, go through your diabetes clinic.
Yeah.
Don't go buying this drug. Okay, this is not a game to be played with. If you're looking to get pregnant, or you're having issues around pregnancy and stuff like that, this is not the drug for you at the moment.
No. And also on the flip side as well, if you have had issues with food, so you know, you have
sort of bulimics,
anorexia, that sort of stuff, this is not for you.
There are also some
there
mild
are
question
other
marks.
things out there that can help you, but this is not for you.
There are also some mild question marks around severe depression and anxiety. Not 100% sure of the reasoning or the causes behind those, and we'll probably discuss that more in an episode about side effects. But again, if you're looking at jumping in at this point, if you have severe depression, if you have issues around pancreas, it's not a drug for you. Okay, steer clear. It's going to do you more harm than good, and no one wants that. So you certainly don't. We don't. I'm assuming that the people that make it don't. And weirdly, it's one of the few drugs out there that I've seen where people seem to be trying to make their own drug harder to get.
Yeah.
That is a rare thing.
Yeah, well, they're putting more restrictions in place now, aren't they? So when you go through the consultation, they're asking you more things and stuff like that. So, which I'm assuming we're going to do a thing on how we order and stuff like that.
How you get it, who you should go through.
But yeah, they are putting more restrictions on, which is good. They should.
Yeah.
They should make it harder for people to get, because the right people need it and should be getting it, not just people with a bit of money that want to lose a few pounds.
And weirdly, I saw a post today, and it was refreshingly honest. So someone had posted about the fact that they were having issues with their pancreas. They'd gone to the doctor, blah 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 blah, and they said that there was an outside chance that it was something to do with Mounjaro, but they'd had pancreatic issues previously, and they decided on their form to lie and say they didn't, and so they were given the drug. and the drug works alongside the pancreas and other bits and pieces, and that's an issue. So again, there's a reason they're asking the question, right? So don't lie about it. If you decide that this is a drug that you want to try, if it's the right drug for you, genuinely, hand on heart, this thing can change your life. It's amazing, and it will change it in a whole host of different ways that even when we've finally done these sort of first 10 introduction episodes, I'm still not sure we're going to completely cover.
No.
Having said that, if it's not the right drug for you, you can end up in hospital, or you can end up sat on or leaning over a toilet for a very long time, feeling very, very bad, and praying to a deity you probably don't believe in to just take you quickly. I had one of those weeks.
However, you will lose weight.
You will lose weight. You will lose weight. It's possibly
not the
not in the
nice
way
way.
you were hoping to,
Yeah.
but you will lose weight. But yeah, just do the research, look into it. When you fill out the form, if you decide to take a punt, and you are investing a reasonable chunk of change into this. In the UK, if you look around, if you shop around, and we'll cover this later in another episode, but it's important. You will have companies giving you super duper bargain deals and offering you like £50 off a pen, and you get it for just a mere 180 quid. Trust me, you never need to pay 180 quid. Even for this one, like the strongest version you can get, you don't need to pay 180 quid for. So if someone's asking you for 180 quid for this, just go somewhere else. There are various different companies that do various different things, and we'll cover it all at a later point. But yeah, there are people that this drug is going to be revolutionary, life-changing, amazing for, and there are people that it would make very, very ill. But the same is true of insulin. If I gave a regular person on the street a big shot of insulin, I can kill them. But to the right person, it changes their life. So knowing the difference between those two things is wisdom, and that's what you're going to need if you're going to make this choice.
Yeah. I think as you said before, going forward, I think we're going to learn more about it, and it's going to have a lot of details that we need to kind of throw in. But in our 7 months so far, I think it's definitely right for us. And yeah, glad we did it.
Okay, so hopefully we've covered quickly. Say quickly. I think we've been doing this for like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But hopefully we will have covered a little bit as to whether you should attempt to try this drug. We're basically talking about Majuro still. I'm sure Ozempic and others. Look, we can give you a little bit of detail about them, but we haven't taken it. So don't want to try and lie to you and say that we're experts in that. We're not. I've done an awful lot of research, an awful lot of reading on this stuff, because if I didn't, I wouldn't bloody take it, because I'm a wimp. But I'm also one of those weirdos that actually read trial data. So, someone should. And I do. And that's the reason why you were willing to trust me when we took a punt on it. And it genuinely has been revolutionary. So if you think it's right for you and you want to, please go ahead, try it. Watch some of our sort of follow-up episodes where we give you some more details in how to sort of keep the costs down, and then when you do start to take it, how to look after yourself in the best way so that you don't have the terrible side effects, which we'll cover in another episode as well, because they can be pretty rotten. But there we go.
See you next time on Skinny Jabbers.
Bye bye.